to His Excellency Ambassador Gustavo Mesa Cuadra, Head of Delegation of the Republic of Peru.
Señor Presidente,
Mr. President, it is an honor to address this assembly and to congratulate the President for his election and express the willingness of Peru to contribute to the success of his mandate. 70 years ago, we established the UN organization to maintain international peace and security, promote and protect human rights, and cooperate at the international level for the development of our people. We now renew our commitment to its purposes and principles and reaffirm the need to continue working to ensure this is a tangible reality for all and to leave future generations a sustainable planet. My country is particularly proud of being a founding member of this organization and having at all times been committed to its charter and to multilateralism. We'd like to recall now 3 illustrious Peruvians who occupied very high-ranking posts. Ambassador Javier Pérez de Cuellar, who was Secretary General, former President of Peru, José Luis Bustamante Rivera, who was President of the ICJ, and Dr. Victor Andrés Belaunde, who was President of this General Assembly. There's no doubt that the UN system has contributed and continues to contribute a great deal to the progress of mankind. We must realize that over 70 years we have not again seen a major war such as the one which beset the world in the first half of the 20th century, nor an economic crisis of the magnitude of the Great Depression. Nevertheless, there is no doubt that the UN achievements have not reached everyone equally. The world compels us to rethink the kind of organization we need and redouble efforts to ensure that peace and security, human rights, and sustainable development are truly universal. Peru attaches the greatest importance to the 2030 agenda. We've agreed to transform the world in one generation in a process where our people have been heard and our cultural diversity has been acknowledged as a catalyst for development. For the first time in history, mankind has a universal instrument where we've committed ourselves to eradicate poverty in all its forms and dimensions and achieve sustainable development over the next 15 years without leaving anybody behind. In fact, we have decided to strengthen and renew the global partnership for sustainable development. In line with the priorities of Peru for social inclusion, we are happy to see that this transformative nature is transversal throughout the 2030 agenda. We must include in order to grow and give priority to economic and social groups left behind, those that are vulnerable, including more often than not indigenous peoples, elderly, people with disabilities, and migrants. In order properly to implement this agenda, it is essential to allocate sufficient resources. We have to increase the budgets for programs involving social inclusion, especially in the field of health and education, giving priority to the care of our children, gender equality, and the empowerment of women. Peru sees as essential to adopt next December in Paris at the 21st Conference of the Parties to the UN Framework Convention a universal, well-balanced, binding agreement to deal with climate change. Peru's current acting president of this conference is sparing no effort to this end. Climate change and environment challenges are endless. We have a particularly serious situation with El Niño. We must invest more through our development plans. Peru is a country which enjoys tremendous diversity and has great potential for biodiversity. We are particularly concerned with the conservation and sustainable use of land and sea ecosystems. Just as is true for sustainable development, the United Nations must make strides in the area of peace and security to ensure respect and promotion of human rights. Peru gives recognition to the important progress which has been made towards peace. In, regarding Colombia, we also salute the restoration of diplomatic relations between Cuba and the U.S., and we again appeal for an end to the economic and financial blockade. Regarding the question of Palestine, the Security Council must be proactive in promoting direct negotiations and dialogue. Palestinians and Israelis must live together in peace and prosper within secure and internationally recognized boundaries. The status quo is unsustainable. Peru is committed to defend and promote human rights, the rule of law, the peaceful solution of disputes, and conflict prevention. We believe that the jurisdiction of the International Court of Justice and the ICC must be universally recognized. Thus, we encourage states that have not yet done so fully to accede to the status of each of these institutions. We must bolster our own ability to act in the face of humanitarian crisis. Criminal atrocities cannot see impunity. Peru deplores the situation in Syria and the crimes in the so-called Islamic State. We must transform the Security Council in its composition and its working methods and the veto in order to ensure that it is representative and effective. Peru has been working in the group ACT to achieve the acceptance of a code of conduct to guide the Security Council in acting regarding criminal atrocities. Aware of the new tasks incumbent upon PKOs, Peru will contribute a team of engineers to MINUSCA. It will be the first time for Peru to send a team outside of our region. Peru is dealing decisively and effectively with the world drug problem, and we have been implementing a successful comprehensive strategy which includes prevention, control, and prohibition, as well as alternative and sustainable development programs for farmers. As a result of this strategy, in the last year, we have recorded a net reduction of crops of almost 14%. Just last year, more than 50,000 hectares were covered, and we've extended alternative development to more than 50,000 hectares. We will have to reaffirm in 2016 the full validity of international conventions regarding drugs and the commitment to national strategies to deal with this problem. We also believe that it's extremely important to continue to promote at all levels an environment to help an effective arms control, which includes limiting conventional weapons and the non-proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. We are committed to the ATT as well as the disarmament, the principles of disarmament and non-proliferation, without prejudice to the inalienable right of every state to research and produce nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. As I said at the beginning of my statement, the international community is about to transform the world in order to rid it of poverty and achieve sustainable development through its 2030 agenda. In order to turn into reality the goals of this new agenda, states will have to increase considerably the resources devoted to it and strengthen international cooperation in all areas. A renewed global partnership must also strengthen cooperation towards development and non-proliferation, promote confidence-building measures to prevent conflicts and avoid arms races and humanitarian crises, because there can be no development without peace. 70 years after it was created, this organization can and must turn into reality the future we all want. Thank you.
Doy las gracias al jefe.
I thank the head of delegation of